Boom, what's happening, everybody? Man, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Expert Mentors Live. Man, episode 45. I can't believe we're coming up on a year already. It's been an amazing run here with our Expert Mentor Live. And I'm super excited to have Alex back on us. There's the main man himself right there, Mr. Nash. What's up, buddy?
Say hi.
Say hi, John.
Say hi. Say hi to everybody. Hi, Nash. So, man, I'm super excited to have Alex on today. And, man, I'm super excited for the lineup that we've got coming. We've already got the next 6-7 weeks already confirmed. We've got many of our top 40, of the top 40 list within the Honey Badger Nation in the queue lined up, confirmed. So super excited for the direction and where the episodes are going and the value that, this community is bringing. And so today's going to be no different. I know, Alex had one of the most watched episodes of last year. Just really, I think, brought really some amazing strategy around really how to dominate and, really force multiply your listings and making sure that you're really getting the most out of every listing that you take. So if you haven't seen that episode, man, go back, do yourself a favor, go back and watch it. Absolutely crushed it. It's absolute gold. And I know today's going to be no different. So Alex, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man. Super pumped to do this again.
I know I've been twisting your arm to try to get you back on for months now. So I was super excited when you said, "Hey man, get me on." I was like, "You got it."
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you. What I saw happening was there was a lot of agents who have been coming up with lead generation challenges and struggles, right? And they're trying to do all these crazy things. And somebody had asked a question in our Facebook group about FSBOs, and I'm like, I created this entire FSBO program a couple months back, and it's just sitting around. I'm not really doing much with it. But I did a really small, intimate group training with like 6 agents, and we went over 7 weeks, and I did one call every week with them and assigned specific homework. And man, they crushed it. Almost every single person in 30 days took a listing. So when people were asking questions, I was like, I got this treasure sitting there that I'm not doing anything with. It was just a small group. Why not try to add some value and make a difference?
I love it, man. And absolutely. I know you're going to add a ton of value, and I'm looking forward to it. We were talking a little bit before. I've been bouncing around a little bit in Atlanta yesterday and in Cleveland, as you guys can see, representing, got a little EXP, Chase Stasic. Man, I woke up feeling pretty dangerous this morning. I'm not going to lie. The Baker Mayfield is rubbed off on the city. So I'm in Cleveland, and I've got my notepad handy and ready to dive in, man. Let's do it.
All right. That's awesome, man. Yeah, let's kick it off. So, you guys have probably seen on the Facebook post, the title of this is How to Use FSBOs to Grow Your Business, even if they don't list with you, right? There are some secrets to getting FSBOs to call you to list their home, but there's also some amazing opportunities to where even if they don't call you to list your home, you can leverage their property to grow your business. And that's really what I want to bring to the group today, because there's a lot of agents who don't have specific properties to market. And we know the absolute best quality buyer is a buyer that's inquiring about a specific property, right? So when you're talking about the hierarchy of buyers, you've got internet search. And we know they can be a pain in the ass, right? Because they're 6 months to 12 months away from ever doing anything. Right. But man, if you could get a signed call, a website inquiry about a specific property, that tells you that buyer's in the market, actively looking, saw something about that specific property that intrigued them. So I want to walk you through the exact process and how you guys you can't lose leveraging FSBOs in your business. So that's what I want to just drive home today.
I love it. And something you said there too, Alex, about the internet home search inquiries. And I mean, you and I have talked about this and just kind of just paying attention and seeing it across the country is that, man, the cost of those searches is doing nothing but going up, and the conversion of those is doing nothing but going down. So if you're trying to hang your business on that, one, I mean, I think you're going to run out of money, and, you know, it's just the cost to get that. And I know you've got some amazing strategies on, you know, I know you're going to share specific, but just the traditional old homes, you know, like from our Commissions Inc. days and Tiger Lead days and Boomtown days. I mean, that's all we're seeing is the cost is just doing nothing but going up, 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 up. And the conversion is, I mean, at best 2%. And so, yeah, you got to have better strategies. So I'm super excited for what you're about to dive into.
Absolutely, man. The biggest challenge is it's 1 to 3% conversion. That's how everybody sells their lead generation systems, right? We went through that. Hey, you pay $1,600 for your platform. Plus, you got to spend $1,000 on leads. And hey, if you close 1 to 3%, you're doing great. And you're like 1 to 3%, like that's just mind blowing when you figure out what your cost to acquire a customer is.
Share with everybody what our cost per lead was when we were trying to get that figured out.
Oh man, we had a Google specialist, right, running Google pay-per-click. And we were getting leads for like $40 to $50 for a buyer lead. I mean, you can't scale a business, you can't grow a business, and you sure the hell can't be profitable paying $40, $50 a lead.
No way. No way.
And you know what? That's the challenge right now with Realtor.com and Zillow. If you're in a good market like we are, a big city, Frisco, Dallas, like the average cost of a Zillow lead is over $250. Now, if you go to like California, it could be $300 to $500. Like we know people right now spending $25,000 to $50,000 a month on Zillow leads. Stupid. You cannot afford to do most agents. Okay. I want to speak to the masses here because most agents can't afford that, right? Like the statistic is 40,000 realtors sell more than 24 homes a year. There's 2 million people that sell real estate.
How many licensed agents are there?
There's 1.4, 1.6, depending on, you know, the number that you listen to, that are part of NAR, which means they belong to a board. They're officially called the realtor. But there's another 500,000 to 600,000 that have a license that just don't hang it with a board because, quite frankly, you don't have to. The only value of the board is, you know, the MLS, and you can call yourself a realtor. But there's people out there that don't associate with a board. So when you look at the actual number, there's slightly over 2 million people that can sell properties, and we're only selling about 5.2 million homes per year. There's a buy side, there's a sell side. So let's call it 10 million. Average realtor selling 5 homes a year.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the fact.
Right. That is. I mean, that's NAR reports that, right? It's like 4.5 or whatever it is.
Yeah. And NAR, what they leave out are the people that aren't associated with NAR. So they try to bump that number up, but they're not telling the whole story about this whole other segment, which is like 400,000 to 500,000 people, right? That's a huge number of people that have a license. So what we want to do is bring to you guys some value. Like this, just so everybody knows, this is a no-cost strategy, right? At the best, maybe it's a $50 strategy that you invest with some of the marketing that I'm going to talk about. So there's no reason why everybody on this call cannot implement this strategy this weekend and start lining up opportunities with for sale by owners.
I love it. And we know we've had quite a few people jump on since we've got started. So welcome, guys. I appreciate you jumping in and tuning in, and make sure, you know, you're present, paying attention, because I know what Alex is about to share is really going to a strategy that you can implement into your business today that is going to get you some opportunities.
Cool. Let's get started, man. Let's just jump right in. I want to just jam pack as much value as possible. So let's start off with why for sale by owners, right? And the reason why I targeted FSBOs is a couple of reasons. Number one, they've already identified themselves as somebody who wants to sell their property. So self-identification, right? No guessing game. You're not trying to run ads, you know, thinking about selling and, you know, trying to find a needle in a haystack. You already clearly know they want to sell. Okay. Number two, it's free. The information is available. I'm going to go over a couple of websites and where you can go get that information. So those two things make it an absolute no-brainer. And by the way, you already know what their biggest objection is, right? They don't want to pay a full real estate commission. Right. So like you go into this like guns loaded, man. You know everything you need to know about this particular source. Now, and I've got multiple screens here. I want to make sure we deliver as much. So I've got my notes up. I'm going to go over my script. how I tour homes. I'm going to go over a ton of detail today. So once you have the mindset, okay, hey, I'm willing to give FSBOs a shot in my market. Let's kind of walk through the progression of exactly what you need to do to be successful. So the first thing you need to do, and John, I'm just going to share my screen real quick.
That's awesome.
So everybody can kind of see what I'm looking at here. The first thing I want you guys to do is, and John, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Got it, man. Looks perfect.
All right, cool. So the first thing I do, because this is a free strategy, is I go to Zillow. I type in my market. I drop down this little box. I uncheck for sale by agents, and I leave for sale by owner as the only checked box. Now you can see right now in my market, there are 39 for sale by owners. So every one of these red dots represents a FSBO. So let's check out this one here, 8604 Prescott Circle, okay? I know what their price is. I know what the Zestimate is. I can go through all of the pictures they've already loaded up online, which is huge. I can get an idea of the overall condition of the property. Next, I can read some information about the property, what that specific seller loves. I can get all the information that I need to say, number one, is this a listing that I would like to list, right? So when I call FSBOs, I don't call them all. I call the ones that are my ideal client, which means they're in the area I want to work and they're in a price point that I want to work. I don't call $100,000 FSBOs because they're going to produce $100,000 buyers. And like, that's a whole nother, finding who your dream client is and everything like that and being specific in your marketing. But here, this is something in my price range. It's $415,000, which is a really good price point in Frisco. Average house right now is about $460,000. So slightly below the average price, which is good. It's going to attract a lot of buyers. So this is one I would be interested in. Now, a couple things. Obviously, if you look over here on the right-hand side, it's got the property homeowner's phone number right here, okay? Scroll down a little bit into this next box. Again, get more information. Here's the Zillow agents. Here's the seller's information again. Now, let's say I wanted to email the seller. If you click these boxes and make sure all the agents are unclicked and you send this message directly, now you've skipped the agents and you're contacting just the homeowner. Really, really important. If you've got some good email campaigns, or maybe, you don't want to pick up the phone and call people, but you want to try to get your foot in the door, try sending an email, and you can leverage it by simply clicking the box. You got to do it in both areas, right? Because what you don't want is your competition knowing that you're reaching out to the for sale by owners. So that's one strategy. So I love using Zillow because it's free. In addition to that, another free program is Craigslist. Literally type in for sale by owner, type in the word real estate, put in your city, and then look for the people who are marketing homes on their own, because most for sale by owners don't know how to market their property. So they're going to these websites that are free. You can check out any for sale by owner websites as well, and you can inquire and reach out to those. Some of the other FSBO sites, however, don't give you phone numbers. Everything is done online via email, which is fine, right? So those are three different ways that you can get FSBO's information at no cost. Now, if you're willing to invest a little bit of money, something like for RedX, you can buy their FSBO package. I think it's like $40 a month, really inexpensive. And once you close one FSBO, I would highly recommend doing it, because what it'll do for you is it'll suck all this information in, and then you can keep track of all your phone calls. The one thing about calling FSBOs directly online is you need to create a for sale by owner tracker. And if you guys send me a message on Facebook, I'll send you the tracker that I've already laid out. And what it does is it helps you know who you've already called, when they listed on Zillow, what your feedback was, if you set an appointment. So you need to keep track, right? So you're not calling the same people and not sounding professional. So these are free sites that you could absolutely leverage right now to get some opportunities to pick up the phone. So let me stop sharing that. And do we have any questions or anything so far, John?
No,
Just want to make sure.
you guys feel free to throw any questions into the chat or into the Q&A box. And as we're rolling through here, we'll make sure that Alex gets them addressed. I know you're going to get into it, but one thing that I'm sure is on people's minds is, what do you say? What's your approach when you do reach out to these for sale by owners?
Cool. So let's go. That's step 2. Now you know who they are. You've got their phone number. Now you need to pick up the phone and you need to call them. So I'm going to go over right now with the group, my for sale by owner script. Very different, very unique. Okay. Because we all have had the traditional FSBO script that, are you willing to cooperate with an agent and pay? Guys, all those scripts are self-serving, right? It immediately puts the for sale by owner on a defensive. So what I did is I crafted a little opening statement here, directly built to align myself with the for sale by owner and build some rapport. So I'm going to kind of go over it line by line with you guys. The first thing I do is I would say, so, hey, John, and when he responds, I say, it's Alex with EXP. I'm not calling to list your home, so don't worry, right? So right there, I kind of, because as soon as they hear you're a realtor, they're going to be defensive. So, hey, I'm not calling to list your home. Don't worry. I actually respect that you're trying to market your home on your own. Complete pattern disrupt. So that statement is a pattern disrupt because I can promise you the other 50 realtors who called that FSBO didn't start the call that way. So immediately the person on the other end of the phone said, okay, it's a little bit different. I caught them off guard. The reason I do that is if they're caught off guard, guess what they're not giving me? An objection.
That's right.
So now I get to roll in. The reason I'm calling is I was wondering if you'd be open to cooperating with the realtor and pay 3% on the sale of your home if we had a buyer that was willing to pay your price. A couple of things. Obviously, you need to know that information, but I just move it slightly further down in my script and I emphasize if.
Right.
The biggest difference here versus what I've seen in other scripts is the way you guys have been positioning it and been taught to position it is to almost oversell the fact that you might have a buyer. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to start a relationship by lying because that's the fastest way to lose rapport and get kicked out of somebody's home. So that, like if you look at my script, it is bold, it is underlined. So I know when I get to that point in my script, I emphasize that. So I'm not promising, I'm not over promising. I'm just asking a simple question. If I had somebody, are you at least open to working with a buyer? The reason you need to ask that question is really important because if they say yes, and they're willing to pay 3%, we have now taken their 6% objection of paying a realtor and we've immediately cut it in half. So the only thing I need to do to win now is show 3% value. That's it. So now, whether they say yes or no, I'm going to walk you through. If they say yes, say, great, when's a good time for me to come by and take a look at your home to see if it matches any of the buyers I'm already working with, okay? Again, if it matches, not I have a buyer. So very specific in how I change that language. And if they kind of hem and haw, they're not 100% like, come on over. You say, hey, I'm going to be in the area, next week. Would you be offended if I stopped by to take a quick look? Who's going to be offended, right? So that is a key word. Would you be offended if I stopped by to take a quick look, see if it matches any of the buyers that I'm currently working with?
Right.
Okay. So that's just another little subtle language pattern. All I'm doing, guys, is lowering the barrier of entry. Now, when I did this live training, I actually picked up the phone and I called FSBOs throughout Frisco. And during these live calls, literally, and I'm glad I recorded them, people were telling me like, I've got 50 phone calls and nobody has communicated with me the way you do. And all it is I'm using a better script.
That's it, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like I switched the value of it's not about me. It's about adding value to this seller. And I just have a mindset of people are way better off working with me as their agent than they are my competition or trying to do it on my own. So when you believe that you are the best option, you have a duty, you have a responsibility to help people when you have that level of certainty and confidence that you provide that level of service. So that's why I'm able to have these conversations. Now, if they are opposed to you coming by to check out their home, you just simply say, hey, that's okay. When we work with buyers, we actually sign them to an exclusive buyer agency agreement, meaning we represent the buyer. And in that agreement, they actually agree to pay our fee. So if you didn't have to pay us anything, would you be open to having us come take a look at your home? Really key, because people are going to go nuts over this. This is 100% true. When I work with buyers, they sign a buyer exclusive agreement. John knows that. I would bring him into the office. They would sign the piece of paper.
100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Not work with them. That's just the standards you have, right? And that's your choice. But
yeah, absolutely. And in that agreement, just like a listing agreement, in order to be in agreement, there's an agreement of compensation. Now, where the compensation comes from is irrelevant. Seller, buyer, it doesn't matter, okay? But in there, it does say in the buyer's rep that we get paid 3% from the sales of the property, okay? So we're not lying, we're not misleading, we're letting them know. And by the way, if my buyer loved the home and the person had it on the market for 200, and we could go 206 and have the buyers, finance the buyer fee, we could do that all day long. And guess what? The seller wouldn't be paying for it. So we're not lying. We're not misleading. We're just trying to create a scenario where we can create a win-win for all the parties involved, right? So that's important that you guys have an open mindset. What I find is people immediately look for the obstacle versus the opportunity. People's mindset, I can't do that. My market is different. That's a bunch of BS, right? That is your limiting mindset telling you that. You've never even probably tried these techniques. So I'm going to challenge everybody to have an open mindset today and look for the opportunity and ask yourself this question. What if this actually works?
Right.
What would that do for your business?
Yeah. I mean, what do you have to lose, right? What are you doing? Because I promise what they're doing right now is not working.
No. And this is why the hesitation to call FSBOs, right, is because they're getting a high level of rejection. And this script is actually designed to, align yourself with them. Super easy to get your foot in the door. I would say, about 75% of the time, John, people were like, yeah, come on by, take a look at it.
Sure. Absolutely.
So there was a few and by the way, guess what? The few that said no, I'm okay with. I don't want to work with an asshole. Like that's just, I come from a place of abundance. Hey, I don't need to work with you. I'll just call the next FSBO who sees value and I'll spend my time and energy helping that person. So I'm okay with people that say no as well.
I love it.
So at this point, now if they're open to saying, okay, well, hey, if I don't have to pay anything, come on by, see if it matches, we'll do that. Guys, now at this point, this is the magic. If they are completely closed off, say, hey, I completely understand. Let me ask you this. Would you be open to letting me spend my money marketing your home to see if I can help you find a buyer? Absolutely no cost, no obligation to you. If it's your money, do whatever you want. That's exactly what they say.
Yeah.
Here's why you cannot lose. This is the whole purpose of today's call. If they don't let you go to the house, but they let you market the home, you can now take all those images from Zillow, the description, you can create a Facebook ad using interested buyers.
Hey, you froze up on my end for a second there. So say that again.
Yeah, I saw my internet. I paused because I saw my internet jump.
You got that Frisco internet.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I pay like $100 for 200 megabytes and it freezes all day. So what I was saying is you get to leverage the listing, okay, and generate qualified, motivated buyers who saw a specific property and have inquired about it. And guess what? It's not even your listing. So FSBOs are giving you properties to market, whether they list with you or not. And that is the game changer. That is why you can't lose with this strategy.
I love it. I love it. A couple things you said there, and then we can progress to the next step. But was that the whole script, guys? I hope you guys caught this. Was that it lowers the gate of the seller's mind, right? Because we're always guarded, right? Just human instinct, right? We're going to be guarded, right? Our mind is going to be shut. So what Alex does with the script is it opens the gate of the mind. They're willing to receive. They're not fighting off objections. And just the progression through, right? No. Well, if I was to spend, would you let me? Of course, yes, right? So to me, I would want them to say no along the way just so I could just get their permission to market their property.
Listen, the offer is like such a ridiculous offer, right? If I did a bunch of stuff for you for free, would you let me do it? Of course, right? It's such a ridiculous offer. It's almost impossible to say no to. And that's how you want your scripts. You want your scripts almost impossible to say no to.
I love
When
it.
you do that, you can't lose. So I've got a couple other things in the script that I don't think we need to go into because most scripts probably have this, but we have the common objection of just bring a buyer or do you have a buyer? There's a right and wrong way to answer that. Here's a great little alternative you might want to try. If somebody says, do you have a buyer? Hey, I don't know without being able to see your home, but as an expert in my area, I pride myself in knowing all the inventory, and that includes your home. When would be a good time for me to come by and take a peek? So now it's about positioning yourself as the authority. And again, it makes sense, right? Well, do you have a buyer? I don't know. I've never seen your home.
Right. Absolutely.
So
I love that.
everybody else is saying, I may have a buyer for your home. Bullshit, right? Their bullshit meter goes off. And like, I come from such a place of just raw honesty that people just are like, yeah, dude, like you're not talking to me like everybody else. And because of that, come on by and come take a look at it.
Yeah. It's that salesman stench, right? So you gotta lower that. Jessica, I had a question for you. So she's in a state that requires a minimum of a limited service agreement to do any marketing at all, even to your own database. EXP doesn't allow for limited service agreements. Any idea on a workaround?
Oh man. Honestly, off the top of my head, I mean, it's got to be subject to the brokerage. And then obviously I think even like Oklahoma, right, is a non-inducement state. Yep. So you just got to be creative and ask yourself, how could I make this work? And I don't know specifically for your market, what the workaround would be. So they're not able to do limited service. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
What about an open, what is it called? When we list houses, there's the exclusive right to list. There's the open one. There's one form of a contract that literally allows people to sell their home on their own and pay you no commission. I don't know if it was an open listing, but you got to try to play within the rules, but I would look into what opportunity may be available in your area.
She's saying the state allows for it, but EXP does not.
Gotcha. EXP, I would check to see if they allow an open contract, which is just a different form of a listing. It's a legitimate listing, but it's, what we call an open form, an open listing. And if they do allow that, you would just change one thing. You would make the pitch to market their home when you actually get face-to-face with them. That's the only thing I would change differently versus doing it over the phone. For me, I record all my calls. So once I have their okay, like I will literally say, all right, so it's okay to use the pictures you have on Zillow in your description. Yeah, that's fine. I'm protected, but you got to do what's right in your state, and everyone's a little bit different.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Check with the broker. And that's a great little mental model for yourself too, right? Is, instead of, shooting it down, it won't work, is like, how can we make it work? What are all the ways? What's the the best, what am I trying to accomplish? What's the goal? What are all the ways? So just better questions will result in better answers. So cool. So anything else that we need to wrap up in step 2, or are we ready to move over to step 3?
Yeah, really quickly, we're going to go to the qualifying questions because these are key. The qualifying questions make conversion easy. So let me repeat that. The qualifying questions will make your conversion easy. And Terry said exclusive agency in the chat. So maybe that's what it's called. So a couple things, let's blow through this. When you're talking about setting the qualifying questions for the appointment, you want a couple things. Do you mind me asking why you've decided to sell? Motivation, really important. Tell me a little bit about the home and what you've enjoyed most. Really important. Get them talking. Have you done any renovations, any improvements? At this point, they should be doing 90% of the talking. You're just doing 10%, and that's asking the next setup question. Okay. Now, I love this one. Hey, what's the price you're asking? And they may say something like, well, you saw it on Zillow, didn't you? Or you saw the price. You say, yeah, but you can't believe every price you see online. Have you ever gotten a Zestimate? I heard this and I stole it. I'm being 1,000% real. I stole this shit. When I heard it, I was like, that's gangster. 2 reasons. You can't believe everything, okay? And 2, have you seen a Zestimate? Most FSBOs got their price from Zillow. So essentially what you're doing is that mind like, what do you mean? Is that not a good price, right? You're creating doubt and uncertainty in their mind. So that is a huge setup question.
Great question. Here's the one thing that I hope everybody's paying attention to. And this is where a lot of people miss, is that set the appointment, qualify the appointment.
100%.
Set the appointment, qualify the appointment. Don't do it the other way around, and don't forget to qualify after you set the appointment, right? So a lot of agents get so excited, oh, I got an appointment, boom, out the door, and they forget to qualify it. So
100%. This is what makes these scripts so different, and this is why they work, because we're doing the opposite of everybody else. None of this is about me yet. It's all about helping the customer. So now that once we've got the price, they verify, you can say, well, how'd you come up with that price? Did you have comps? Did you have an appraisal? Did you just go to Zillow? So now you're gathering information, okay? Next question, have you gotten any offers? Most likely it's gonna be no, okay? And then a couple of key setups. So is $499, is that your bottom line price? Most of the time you'll get a little hesitation. That's what you're looking for. If they say, nope, that's my rock bottom, you hit them with, if I had a cash buyer that can close when you wanted to and was super flexible, what's your bottom line? Guys, the goal here is to get them to come off their price a little bit. So let's say, again, the house is 300 grand and they're like, I take 295. That's 5 grand. Now, remember, they've already paid, they're willing to pay me 3%. Now they've come down 5 grand on their price. Guess what? They've given up almost 6% of their listing price. They don't even realize that they're doing all the work and making less money than allowing a real estate agent to represent them. You don't tell them that this here. You put that note in your head because you're going to bring that up when you get face to face with them. But that's just a mental note that you've already overcome the entire commission objective.
That's a great point, right? Don't address that over the phone, guys. That's the conversation you want to have face to face. You're gathering intel, right? Information that you need to when you get face to face to be able to, help you on the negotiation side.
100%. So the rest, guys, very standard. I don't want to spend much time. I want to make sure we get through everything in the next 30 minutes, but very standard, right? Make sure both decision makers are going to be there. One question I do ask them, what's most important to you? Is it selling your home for the most amount of money, or is it getting sold in a specific time frame? Okay. With FSBOs, it's going to be money. It's usually not time frame because they're starting off as a for sale by owner because, well, I don't really need to sell for 6 months. Let me try it on my own and kind of kick it around and see if I get lucky. So most of the time it's going to be top dollar. Okay. So it's just good for you guys to know that. So at this point, you're good. You've asked all the questions. There's a few more, but you've set the appointment. Now, a couple of things I like to do at this point is if they didn't let me come to the house, I'm running my Facebook ads and I'm generating a ton of buyer leads off this property. Again, I don't lose. What I might do in a week or 2 or 3 or even 4 is after I've generated a ton of leads, if I see they're still on the market, I might say, hey, just wanted to reach out with you. I've been marketing your home. I generated 70 leads on your property. I'd love to share those with you. Like at this point, you will blow them away because they've had 7 people call them on their house and they've all been realtors. And you're saying you generated 50, 60, 70 leads off of their property. Great way to get your foot in the door, go by. You could ask the question, how much longer are you willing to do this on your own? So you could take the no and get yourself back in the door. But what I want to focus on are the people that let you come to the house, okay? So really important when you tour the home, I'm going to kind of walk you through my framework. Very simple. We're always going to thank them when we get there. We're going to ask for the tour of the home. During the tour, we're asking specific questions to build rapport. I'm looking at what type of vehicles they drive, pictures of vacation, kids, sports teams, anything that I can use as commonality to build rapport. In addition to that, I'm also asking questions, reconfirming their timing and motivation. Now, when I get back to the kitchen table, which is where I like to set up shop, I thank them again for the tour. And again, I ask them the specific question. What's most important to you, getting your home sold quickly, or is it more important to sell your home for the most amount of money? They're always going to say top dollar. And at this point is where I start to create a problem for them. Because let me tell you guys this, if the customer doesn't believe there's a problem, they will not seek a solution.
Ever.
You need to create a problem that they might not even be aware of. So here's how I do it. Say, hey, John, you know, the price of your home is really in relationship to the supply and demand. And what I mean is, the more people that are interested in your home, the better the price you're going to get. Does that make sense? 100%. You know, there's no doubt that I believe you have the skills to get your home sold. But I do have one concern. Can I share it with you? What's that? It's creating the right demand on your home to get your home sold for top dollar. Okay, so at this point is now where I'm starting to create the problem. Now, John, I've got a couple of really cool strategies to help dramatically increase the demand on your home. Would it be okay if I just shared those with you? Usually this is so non-threatening because you're not talking listing presentation. This creates the opportunity for you, however, to start to get into your listing presentation and start to show the differentiation of how you can dramatically increase the demand on their home, right? Getting their home in front of the right buyers for their property. So that right there is my transition statement into doing that. Now, once I do that, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into the pain, and here's how I do it, okay? This is the problem. So, hey, John, I don't know if you're aware, but about 90% of all homes that are sold every single year involve a real estate agent, and about 8% are for sale by owner. But here's the thing. Of that 8%, half of those sales are done between a family or a friend, somebody who already knows the seller. So only about 4% of homes every year are sold exclusively by owner, which means you're potentially missing out on about 96% of the market. Now you do a little pause there. You let that kind of hang over them for a second. And did you know it doesn't cost buyers anything to work with a real estate professional? That's a free service. So what ends up happening is the buyers that are buying for sale by owner are they're the shrewdest buyers in the market. They're a lot of the investors. These are the people that are looking to get a steal on a home, and they end up writing low ball offers. And the reason is they know you're not paying a commission. So they drop their price really low, and they end up fighting for the same commission savings that you are. And usually they end up getting all the benefit of the discount, and you have to do all the work, and you didn't make any more money. Does that concern you at all?
Yes.
Huge setup, okay? Now, if they're kind of like, well, maybe, well, does it concern you that you're missing out on hundreds, if not thousands of potential buyers, out of town, relocation, buyers working exclusively with agents? Does any of that concern you? Setup questions, right? Well, maybe a little bit. So, John, I want to ask you one more time. What's most important to you? Is it getting your home sold, selling it yourself, or is it getting it sold and putting the most amount of money in your pocket, even after a commission?
Yep.
Most amount of money, right? So that is huge. You have to get their agreement that putting the most amount of money is in their pocket. You've created this massive thing this problem that they weren't even aware of. Now, this is a great time to say, and John, and if he says, no, I'm really not concerned with that. Really, because when I called, you said you were open to paying 3%. And when I asked you what your bottom line was, you took $6,000 off. Are you aware that's another 3%? So essentially, you've given up what a real estate commission would be, if not more, and you're having to do all the work, which means talking to all the agents, all the buyers, the home inspectors, the title companies. Like, you're doing all of that work, keeping your home available, answering the phone, and you're not making any more money, but you're doing all the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you're not doing any type of additional marketing. What are you doing, marketing wise and for your property, right? You can continue to create more doubt.
Yep. You got to create this problem. So it's like, why the hell am I doing this on my own? Right? This doesn't make any damn sense. So at this point now, it's okay to kind of transition over to your full presentation in pricing. I don't go there until I've created this doubt, okay? And one of the really just great trial closes you guys can add with FSBOs is, hey, can you see that there's a lot more that goes into getting your home sold than, you know, just running it on a couple of websites, Zillow, Craigslist, and doing showings and hoping for an offer. Once they say yes, you've really captured them. Now you got to blow them away with your presentation, okay? And I will tell you, you're not always going to be able to sell their home for more money than what they have it on the market. Actually, when I did the FSBO training, the house that I listed, they had the house on the market at 320. The house was worth 290.
Right.
But guess what? I did this process, built massive rapport. They absolutely we just hit it off. But guess what? They weren't ready to list with me. So that goes to the next section. If you get the listing here, slam dunk, that's going to happen, 20% of the time. But where the fortune is made is in the follow-up. What do I mean? So
before you transition there, Alex, we had a question, any other objections that you might see at that point before you kind of transition? Yolita said, hey, my lawyer, if they say, hey, well, my lawyer will do all of that, right? So like, what would you say to any other objections, anything that, like what Yolita's just mentioned?
Yeah. So you're paying an attorney to do this. Yeah. So not only are you making less than 6%, which would be what you would pay a real estate agent doing all the work, you're also taking on additional expense to have an attorney do this. So I just would widen the gap that you're making less money by doing this. So you just got to you have to find what their pain point. And here's the thing, they may not be ready, and that's okay. If they say, hey, Alex, I love it, but we're going to continue to keep doing this on our own. Perfect. Would it be okay if I just keep in touch from time to time? Yeah, that would be awesome. So as soon as I walk out of this, I'm either getting the listing or I'm getting the okay to follow up. And if I get the okay to follow up, here's where I ask them, would it be okay to market their home for free? Guess what they're going to say? Absolutely. Hey, and if you bring us a buyer, we'll pay you 3%. That's what they all say. So again, I can't lose. So I'm not worried about the one or two objections, or even if I get the listing. I love to get the listing. I know it's going to happen 10 to 20% of the time right there on the spot. But what I also know is I'm going to leverage the opportunity to do free service for them, which is valuable to me. Like there are people out there who tell agents, go do free open houses. I want leads. So I'm going to do open houses, but I'm going to do them differently. And I'll tell you in a second. So I walk out either with the listing or with the okay to market their home. Can't lose scenario either way. Now, what I do is as soon as I get back to my office, handwritten thank you note. The second thing I do is I put them into the MLS. You know how we could do like the radius search and the property notifications in the MLS?
Yep.
I'm going to do everything within a half mile that lists, goes pending, or sells. And I'm going to set that up to email me. And my subject is going to be FSBO John 123 Main Street. So guess what? Every time there's a new sale, a new listing, a new pending, hey, John, came across this, just wanted to let you know the home down the corner just went under pending. All I'm doing is creating the pain, like, damn it. My house is sitting here. How come they're not looking at my house? Why is my neighbor selling? And again, I'm demonstrating value and I'm staying in touch. In addition to that, weekly or monthly market update reports, I'm automating and I'm emailing them out. These are all touches. What you have to understand is a for sale by owner usually takes 90 to 120 days before they seek a real estate agent. So you need to build a touch plan, a follow-up, a drip that's at least 4 to 6 months. How do you do that? You could do one touch every month with a market update report. You can use the MLS like I just told you to say, here's another sale or listing.
Every time, man.
Every time. So creating the opportunities to touch base is easy. And then here's what you do. On Mondays is where you schedule your follow-up call. And here's why. Friday, Saturday, Sunday went by. Maybe they ran an ad. Maybe they did an open house. And guess what? Come Monday, they still don't have an offer. They are feeling as low as they possibly can right? They're feeling frustrated, defeated. And you call, hey, John, it's Alex, man. Just want to touch base. How are things this weekend? Did you do an open house? Any luck? Do you have any offers? So I'm going to do that every other week for the 3 months. And here's what happens. About 60 days in, I'm going to slip in there. Hey, John, just curious, how much longer are you doing this on their own before you even entertain interviewing an agent? So that's the setup, because I want to find what their time frame is. A huge percentage are going to say, you know, we've actually already started talking about it. Hey, I'd love to interview for the opportunity to work with you. Guess what? Here's why they will call you. Like if you looked at the subtitle of today's training, it was how to get them to call you without competing and lowering your fee. Here's why. You've done so much. You've demonstrated expertise. You've been generating leads on their property. You've been sharing those leads. You've been following up. You've been sending market update reports. You've been telling them about, you've done so much. The law of reciprocity says, like, you are more likely going to be their go-to agent, and they're not even going to interview other agents. And I know this for a fact because when I listed the house in Frisco, they said, you know, we had 50 phone calls. You're the only person we let interview for the job. You know why? Because I demonstrated how valuable I was before I even, you know, tried to hit them with a sleazy sales, you know, closing or anything like that. And this literally happens every day. People will start saying, hey, you know what? I got your market update report. Or I saw my neighbor John just put their home on the market. I can't believe it. Let's just get my home on the market. And that's why they will start to call you, as long as you've done it correctly and you've set up that kind of that long-term follow-up system.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. It's the Gary Vee that just jabbing value and then, you know, going months before you throw that right hook and asking, right? So, yeah, I love it.
Yep. Somebody had asked, when you're qualifying a FSBOs, do you ask if they have a realtor? You could say, hey, are you talking to anybody else about the sale of your home? I don't ask specifically for the realtor. You know why? Because if they're not thinking about it, I don't want to put that in their mind. Like some people say, are you interviewing other agents? Well, no, should I?
I love
Why
that.
do that to yourself?
Yeah, say that again. What's the question?
The question was, when you're qualifying FSBOs, do you ask if they have a realtor?
Right. And then the question that you ask to the potential client?
Oh, if they say, what do you mean specifically?
Yeah. So what was the question? That you asked to the seller, right? Is like, are you talking to anybody else about the seller?
Oh yeah. So what I ask them is, hey, are you talking with anybody else about the sale of your home? And I just don't use the word realtor.
I love it. And then
now here's the thing. If they had a realtor, the house would be on the market. If they have a realtor friend that they're going to go with after FSBO, I'm okay, because guess what? They're not under agreement. I'm going to blow them away when I demonstrate my value, that I create the opportunity. And you have to understand my process, right? When I go through this and I ask one of my trial closes, hey, can you start to see that all real estate agents aren't created equal? Do you feel like this is the best system and process to get your home sold for top dollar? When they say yes to those two questions, guess what happened to their friend? They just admitted that you are a better option than their friend. I don't move to pricing until I get full buy-in.
Well, until they agree that they want to work with you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and here's that transition. Hey, so John, you know, if we can come to an agreement on price and all the terms, everything makes sense to you, are you confident that I'm the right person to get your home sold? Yes, I am. Great. Let's take a look at price. That's the buy-in. And until I get a yes that they see the value in working with me, I'm not going to price.
Now, are you going to stay you're going to get specific on price, or you're going to stay broad range until they actually sign some paperwork with you, until they sign up?
I get right down to what their homes, and I demonstrate this is what your home is worth. And if you guys have ever heard me coach or train, you know, I don't even give them price. I bring them the data
and let them come to their own.
Here's the price range. Where do you think your home fits in? Where's your home fit in? But I control the range.
Right.
And in this house, remember, John, it was $325 when I went there. I told them $290. When they listed with me, we listed at $295. So they had come down, but it's fake money. It's BS. It's not what their home is worth, right? So when you understand their timing and their motivation, which we teach you how to do, when they got to sell, they got to sell.
Right.
When you know their why and you can say, John, this is what it's going to take to get your home sold and get you to XYZ by such and such date so that you can, and I only know all those answers because of my qualifying questions. But when you hit home so that you can, live on the water, so that you can get to your new job in time, so that you can move closer to your family. When you know that, it's game over.
Absolutely, being able to tie back to it. So Tim was asking, recently called, overpriced per comp, says he has a friend that's a relative.
Say that again.
So Tim's question, talked with the for sale by owner, knows that his owner is overpriced. And so just during that conversation, asking the question came up, yeah, I have a friend that is a realtor. What would you say?
So if they're still for sale by owner, I would follow my process, because John, a friend in the business, most people really don't want to do business with their friend, because if shit goes hairy, do you really want to lose a relationship over a business deal?
Exactly.
So listen, the only time I deviate is if I've already signed a listing agreement. It's going on in 30 days. Okay. That's different. But if there's nothing signed, guys, you treat it like every other opportunity. Go in, differentiate yourself, show how much more valuable. And when I mean, you have to be so valuable, and you have to explain it and articulate it in a way that that person says, I'm a fool if I don't list with John, don't list with Alex.
I love it. So Jessica's throwing another question in there about just trying to be creative, thinking outside of the box. What type of, if she's not able to do any type of marketing, then what, her idea was possibly doing, instead of doing a how to sell your home booklet, but maybe, dripping a video series on them on things that they can do to market their home.
I love it. Listen, I'm a huge proponent. I haven't even told you this yet, but I'm working on literally V2 of my book. And, when it comes to becoming that dominant go-to agent, the one thing that I wasn't doing when I wrote the book almost a year and a half ago was video. Guys, if you are not leveraging video, I'm building out right now in my training. It's on my board. It is how to dominate your market, become the local celebrity agent by leveraging video. I'm going to teach agents how to create 12 buyer topics, 12 seller topics, and drip that to your market so that you are positioned as the expert, the go-to agent. And people will they will be so blown away by the freeness that you give away. You're answering questions they already have, and you're demonstrating your expertise that people will actually reach out to you. This strategy, by the way, wasn't available 5 years ago, 10 years ago. People had to buy TV, radio, and billboards to get their message out. You can do it done right at 2 to 5 cents per engagement on your Facebook post.
Yep, absolutely, man. It's the game's changing, and it's definitely from a position to where you can afford it too, right? So, see the question on how to get the group with your script. I'll come back to that in a second, because I want people to know how they can get a copy of your book and how they can reach out to you to be able to connect to get a copy of your script. So we'll circle back to that before we wrap the call. Are you taking anything to the appointment? And if so, are you leaving anything at the appointment?
Yeah, so great question. So a couple things I do. I do take a few things with me. If I've run the ad for their property before the appointment, I bring the picture of the ad, the results, and I print out all the leads and I give them to them. I don't hoard them. Listen, I want to demonstrate so much value. This guy just gave us 20 people to call that inquired about our house. So I'll bring them that. I will bring testimonials specifically. I think that's huge because it's third-party validation. It's not me saying I'm great. It's other people that have experienced my level of service. So I will bring testimonials. If you have a FSBO booklet, bring that. Guys, if you don't subscribe to Keeping Current Matters, you're killing yourself over 25 bucks. Every season, he provides a brand new booklet, the Home Buyer Seller Guide for spring, winter, fall, summer. I leave that, and on the back, it's fully branded. It's got marketing, like it's just a great information packet. So I will leave stuff like that because I want to show up and I want to show out. I want people to be like, damn, like this dude is no joke.
Yep. And coming from just massive value add, right? You already statistically know, you've already shared the percentage of for sale by owners that actually transact through, right? It's 4%. It's 4%. And so if you're gonna have the scarcity mentality, it's just add value, right? You cannot go wrong when you add value, and really within your process, right? So we talk about it all the time, right? Innovation, right? So what Alex is sharing with you guys is he's just continuing to innovate on this process, and all innovation is just the adding of value, and he's adding more value, more value, more value. He's just innovating more and more through this process. And if you just trust this process, it's going to serve you, and you're going to get better results from this. So those are fantastic. So as we kind of wrap up here, Alex, I want to make sure that you share with everybody the way that they can reach out to you. One, how they can get a copy of your book, and then two, if they get a copy of your book, being able to also get a copy of the script as well.
Yeah. So if you want a copy of the book, it's available on Amazon. It's like $16. But if you want to go to alexpiechbook.com, you can get a copy for $5.60 or something like that, or $6.97. I've got a bunch of copies here. I'll actually drop ship it, get it out to the mail for you, and you can get access to all of that. And then obviously Facebook is a great way. Check me out on Facebook and just drop me a note there. If you want a copy of the script, I can send you, whatever you guys need so you can start to implement these strategies.
That's 100%. Guys, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't go and get his book for, just the cost for him to ship it to you. It's an absolute no-brainer. The other thing too, making sure, within the, you guys are, you have the NAEA access, which gives you the tool and the presentations to arm yourself with when you're going in. There's also the white papers that are available there, and it's there's a for sale by owner white paper in there that needs to be one of the things you print out, take along with you, as well as like Alex said, we didn't share the tools that we use to give them, but Keeping Current Matters needs to be on your credit card statement. Real market reports needs to be on your credit card statement, because that's what you can send to them on a weekly, monthly basis. And then you've got to have the visual pricing tool called Focus First, because that's the reports that you bring with you, like Alex shared, that you let them come to their own conclusion how they need to position what pricing they need to position their home in the market. Mm-hmm. So those are the three tools. You're going to invest no more than $100 for those three tools per month. If you guys can't afford that $100, then we need to have another conversation.
Yeah. So and if you can't afford it right now, go do this one damn strategy and sell one home, make $7,000, and then invest.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do this, guys. What I laid out is a shoestring budget. Like, the only expense is when I run the Facebook ad. And here's the thing. If you know how to run Facebook, you can generate leads for anywhere from $1 to $5 a lead. I literally have 3 people right now in Texas, very hot market. We're generating on average $1.12 per lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can check out Alex. Make sure you watch his other, because when you get the listing, you're going to want to watch how to dominate that listing. Alex actually walks through how to set up Facebook ads. We also did another episode with Chase Maher about a month ago in Expert Mentors, around 40-41. Chase walks you through it, but Alex does too in the dominant listing. Chase sets it up the same way that Alex shows you. So go check out that other episode. It'll really serve you well. It'll tie everything all together, and really help you guys position yourselves and gather some listings in your market. So I appreciate it. Alex, as always, brother, amazing value and content, always bringing the fire. Really, really appreciate it. So, Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you go grab a copy of Alex's book, and can't wait to see you guys again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.